The main reason that we're going to use a carousel is probably for images. So let's go ahead and do an example with that. I'll come down here. We might actually just start from scratch here. And we'll say Q-carousel. And then we're going to have to model the slides. So I've still got that there. Oop, slide singular. And then we'll throw some slides in here. How about we start with 3? So Q-carousel-slide. Oh, while I'm at it, times 3. And let's just do a little bit of styling at the top here. We'll add some arrows in. And we'll also make it animated. So that's a good starting point. And what else? Well, we want these to be images, so we can actually have them as self-closing tags. Let's just save that. And we'll set the source here equal to the image source. But before we do that, we should probably put the names in so everything's set up and ready to go. Name is equal to 1, this one will be 2, and this one will be 3. So now we can switch between the slides, and I might just copy paste that down. Yeah, okay, so once we paste in some sources here, we should be able to view them within our carousel. And I'm going to look up Australian Native Plants Society. And we're going to have a look at some Australian native plants. Yeah, here we go. We go to the gallery, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of where I'm from. And I'm just going to open some random links and find ones that I think look pretty. So there we go. We got that one. It's quite pretty. I used to have these in my backyard as a kid. Let's look for something a bit more horizontal though. Yeah, this one here. What else? This one looks kind of cool. And one more. I think something a little bit more green, just for a difference in color. So now what I can do, I'll close that page, is I can copy all of these image addresses and then just throw them in there. Copy image address, throw it in there, just so we've got a bit of a starting point. Save that, refresh the page, and something isn't right. We can't just say source here, we have to say image-source. img-source. There we go. And now we've got this beautiful looking carousel. Sweet. Very nice. And of course, we can change it from arrows to navigation. And I think that actually looks a bit nicer, at least in this example. That's really cool. Now let's make it so that there's some titles sitting on these images. And before I do that, I want the title to be at the bottom. And because of that, let's set the position of the navigator, navigation-position to top. Yeah, and then we can have like a title at the bottom here. And I'm going to use an example that's kind of similar to what I found in the docs, but you can jump into the docs to see what they did. I've changed things up a little bit. So we'll have a div, and let's put a class on this that will say absolute-bottom. So that's going to throw this div onto the bottom. Let's put a padding all of medium, just to add a little bit of padding there. And what else? Let's make the text white, and we'll also center the text as well. So instead of going to the left, it's going to sit right in the center, and it'll be white on a gray background, I think. Let's try that. So come over here, and maybe we'll just do an example for now. Example. Yeah, there we go. So that's showing up. And let's add a bit of a background here. Background-color, and we'll set that to a red, green, blue, alpha, 0, 0, 0. So that's going to give us a black color. And now we can say 0.5, meaning 50% of it is going to be transparent. It's going to have 50% transparency. And there we go. I think that looks really, really good. Now let's turn this into a title. So we'll wrap that in a div, and that div's going to be text dash, how about H4? Yeah, something a little bit bigger. And then we might have like some text underneath. So I used to have these in my backyard growing up. And that looks really nice. And look at how easy Quasar makes all of this for us. The only CSS I had to write here was inside of this style tag. And we end up with this beautiful result. So yeah, in the real world, you'd probably streamline this so you'd have one component rather than copy pasting it all the way down. and you'd use like a v-for loop and then change these values based on some data. But anyway, let's explore this a little bit further. So what else can we do? We can actually add in thumbnails here. So if I remove this bottom section, we'll just get rid of that for now. Save it. All I have to do is add the word thumbnails, and check this out. Oops, spelled it wrong. And I think I'll have to get rid of the navigation as well. Look at that. It automatically creates these beautiful thumbnails for us. That's usually something that's really annoying to do, but Quasar does it out of the box. We've also got autoplay. So check this out. Autoplay, and I'll set that to just true by default so we can see how it works. And I think it's set to like a 3 or 4 second delay. There we go. So it's automatically playing the next one after about 4 seconds. And there's this really cool example inside of the docs where we can say, for example, at mouse over, so if the mouse goes over this, I want to set autoplay equal to, let's set it to false. But if the mouse exits, so mouse leave, then we'll set it back to true. So basically, if the user's got their mouse over here, then we don't want autoplay to be on anymore because it means they've got their attention there and they might be looking at the photo. So let's create this autoplay property, come down here, and actually to make this example a little bit more full and easier to understand, we're going to set that to 1000, which means 1000 milliseconds. And here, instead of setting it to true, we'll set it to 1000. Save that. And there we go. Every second, it moves on to the next one. However, notice that it stopped when it reached the end. We can say infinite here, and now it will just keep going. And if I put my mouse over, I can just stay on that image and have a little closer look. So that's really cool and something you can imagine yourself using. I really like that. And another cool thing you can do here, let me just change that from 1000 to maybe like 3000. It's a little bit busy on my eyes. Another cool thing that we can do here is actually add some control buttons anywhere we want on the side of this slide. So check this out. If I say template, and we'll make this a slot, and that slot is going to be control. So we're going to add a control, and then inside here we can say Q-carousel-control. So this is new for us now. We can also say a position for this control. So position, and I want to set that to top right. So we're going to show this control in the top right. And let's set an offset there as well. The offset's going to be, how about 8, just so it's not sitting right in the top right. And then let's add a class as well. And just to begin with, I'm going to add a little bit of padding so it's a bit easier to see. Q-padding or, Butterfingers, small. And we'll put in here control. Oh, we'll have to get rid of that. Yeah, there we go. So it's showing in the top right here. And now let's set autoplay. Let's get rid of this. And let's set this to a toggle so we can toggle it on and off. So Q-toggle. And now let's model that autoplay variable. And we'll give it a label as well, saying autoplay. And then let's make it dense just so it doesn't take up too much space there. Yeah, cool. And to begin with, instead of setting this to 1000, let's just set it to true. So instead of 3000, we'll set that to true. And now we can toggle autoplay on and off. That's really, really cool. However, I probably want to make this a little bit more obvious. So how about we set the text to white. We give it a background, and I'll also give it some rounded borders. And you could say background black, for example. Yeah, there we go. We can turn autoplay on and off using this toggle. And if you want that background to be transparent, then you'd have to do that inside of a style tag like this. So you'd have to say style and then background, kind of like what we did before. RGBA, red, green, blue, alpha, 0, 0, 0, and then something like 0.4. And there we go. I think that looks really, really good. And this is probably a good opportunity for me to show you the full screen attribute. So if we say, for example, full screen here, then it's going to be set to full screen. And of course, we can then set that to a variable. And we'll set that to a full screen variable. And let's come down here, set that property in here. We'll make it false by default. And now we could just make a button here that toggles that on and off. So instead of a Q toggle, let's say Q-button. And we'll need a full screen icon, which I believe is just the word full screen. Whoops, full screen. All right, so let's probably get rid of that background now. And a little bit more of this. Yeah, there we go. So we got the button up there. We probably want to add a bit more styling. So let's make it dense. Let's make it flat. And let's give it a color of gray 9. It's just like a really dark gray. Okay, that's not very obvious to see, so let's bring it back to something like white. Yeah, there we go. In hindsight, I probably should have kept the background there, but that's totally fine for now. And then when we click on this, @click, full screen is going to be equal to the opposite of what full screen is currently at. So basically, clicking this button toggles full screen. And now we can go in and out of full screen. How cool is that? Let's have a look at videos. If I get rid of everything in here, so come down there. There we go. And I'll just put a div in there for now. And let's see what we can do in terms of videos. How about we add some slides that model a data property? Yeah, okay, so what I'll do is we'll say videos inside of an array. And then we'll have the name of the video. We'll just keep it really basic to begin with first. And then the source that will take us to that video. And let's copy paste this down. This one will be the second video, and this will be the third. And then let's go ahead and find some videos that we can work with. And to do that, I'm just going to go to vimeo.com. And I think they've got like a watch section. Yeah, there we go. And we'll just find some videos. Pick some at random. Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay, this would be cool. Let's grab some of these. And what I'll do is I'll grab a share link for the first one. And I want to grab just the embed part. And in order to copy this, I have to click drag. And whilst the mouse is still clicked, Control C. Because if I let go, it then selects all of it. So I managed to get that. And now I can come here and paste it in. And we'll paste it into these other places as well. Because now all we have to do is change the ID of the video. So let's come to this one. Throw it in there. And then this one, and throw it in there. Cool. So we've got our videos set up. All the data is there for it. Let's add the carousel items. Q-carousel-slide. And inside there, we're going to have a Q-video. And that video is going to have a class that is equal to absolute-full, which means it's going to take up the full area. And then we'll set the source here as well is equal to, I'll just put a question mark for now. And now we can iterate through all of those videos to make these slides. We'll say v-4 equals video in videos. We're going to need a key. And we'll set that to video.name because I made sure that that was unique. And then we'll set the name of this slide to video.name. And because of that, slide will have to be one of these videos by default. So how about we set it to the first video by default? There we go. Save that. And of course, this isn't going to work now, but we can go video.source. And there we go. How easy was that to build? Isn't that insane? Oh, that's so cool. So now let's get rid of the autoplay option. And what else? Obviously, thumbnails won't work in this scenario. We might keep infinite, and let's add those arrows back in. Yeah, there we go. So we've got these arrows so we can switch between the videos. It just takes a second for them to load. In fact, let's change that to navigation. And this is a situation where I'd probably just have buttons that are sitting underneath here. So let's remove navigation. And then we might come down here, and underneath the carousel, we'll add a Q-button-toggle. So I showed this in one of the earlier examples. And we'll say options here, and that's going to be equal to an array. and they're all going to need a label and a value. So let's set the label equal to 1, and then the value also equal to 1. How did I do that? Were they capitals? Okay, so we had first, second, and third. First, second, and third. Second, third. And then this is going to model the slide. V-model is equal to slide. So as we change these buttons, the value of slide is going to change. And that's how we're going to select different videos. What have I done here? I must have called some of them the same thing. Oh, third. And now we can select videos using these buttons at the bottom here. How cool is that? Let's move on to something else. This next example is going to be for people that want to have text inside of their carousel. So let me remove all of this, bring us back to something really basic. And how about we add some arrows back in there? Q-carousel, and we'll just have 2 in this example. So let's start with this first one here, and I'll throw some lorem ipsum in there. Oh, why isn't that working? Let's try again. Lorem ipsum. And then the next one is going to have a huge amount of lorem ipsum. So basically representing a lot of text. And let's set a height on here. And we'll set that to 150 pixels. Maybe get rid of the full screen aspect. Get rid of infinite scroll, just to simplify things a little bit. Refresh the page. I might have a little error in here. Nope, so why is that not showing? Oh, we have to set a name for these. Name. And let's say first and second. And it looks like the other thing I got wrong is I didn't change these to the word slide. So it's a QCarousel slide. There we go. Fix it for that one as well. And I believe that's going to fix everything. Save it, refresh the page. There we go. Now it's working. And I can't see those left and right arrows, so we'll give them a color. Control color is equal to blue. And there we go. Now, one of the problems with this example, if we set this to infinite, one of the problems is that the text can go over the button here, which doesn't look very good. So what we can do is add some padding in here by saying padding. However, this can cause some issues if we have the custom scroll component being used. And so I'm just going to quickly show you how you can deal with those issues. Let's come down here and wrap all of this inside of a QScroll component. So Q-scroll-area. Save that. Come across. And now we get these scroll bars, but it's not really working properly. In fact, it's not working at all. It's completely unusable. So how do we fix that? Well, if we put the class fit in there, then that's going to fix that up so that everything looks nicer now. And you also want to make sure, like I said before, that you're using padding. Otherwise, it's going to cross over the arrows, which doesn't look good. So if you're using the scroll area component, make sure that you've got padding on the carousel so that things don't run over the arrows. And make sure that you've got fit set to the QScroll area. Otherwise, nothing is going to show at all. Just a little issue I want you all to be ready for. And another thing that you might want to do is to put the scroll bar on the very edge. And we can do that as well. And I'll show you how that works. So let's wrap all of this inside here, inside of a div. Put that inside a div as well. And now this div is going to have the Q-carousel padding property. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this padding from the carousel slide, and then we're going to put it back in here because the QCarousel slide is using this class to get its padding. So basically what we're doing is we're going to remove it from here and put it into there. If you don't understand all of this, that's totally fine. This is something a bit more advanced just to show you how we can fix this situation. Yeah, but in this example, we wanted the scroll bar to be on the edge, so we can come up here and get rid of padding there. And now the scroll bar is going to show up on the edge, but we've got the correct padding so that it doesn't go over the arrow buttons as well. And honestly, I've never really done this, used a carousel to show text, but if you ever run into that scenario, this is really good to know because otherwise it can get a bit frustrating. And this is all in the docs, so you don't have to come to this video, just check out the docs and these examples are sitting in there. So that's it. We've explored everything that QCarousels can do. It was quite a journey, but I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I certainly learned a lot teaching you guys this stuff. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.